Okay, shalom. Right, very interesting lesson. We're going to be looking at this concept called Metatron. It's a highly Kabbalistic concept. It's what is known as an angel, a force of light. Very interesting. Over the years I've studied it. I can't fathom it out. It's such a profound Kabbalistic concept. I feel like I've had glimpses at it, but no real understanding. So I decided to do a numerical analysis, and through that numerical analysis, you gain a much deeper understanding. And it's quite interesting that Zuckerberg is going to call his new company Meta and Meta Universe or something. I don't know a great deal about it, but it just brings this whole concept into my consciousness to go and have a look at Metatron. So let's go and have a look, because it's utterly and absolutely fascinating, and hopefully we'll be able to learn something about it, because for everything unholy, and I class what's going on in things like Facebook and these elites trying to, I mean, not everything, ultimately everything is Yotei Vav, but everything, when I say by unholy, I mean in a concealed way. So in a way that conceals the name Yotei Vav as opposed to reveal it, we've got to take that concealment and transform it into a revelation of the name Yotei Vav. So obviously Facebook is not declaring anything to do with the glory of the name Yotei Vav. It's not in a revealed way declaring the glory of the name Yotei Vav, but everything is a revelation of the glory of Yotei Vav. We just have to take that concealment and transform it. So this whole concept of this metaverse, hidden in there will be a revelation of the name Yotei Vav, but in and of itself it's what's called evil. It's concealment. And the concealment will always bite. You know, it's like the serpent will always bite until we crush its head. So we have to come up with a wholly opposite, or to transform that into its wholly opposite. So the fact that it's called Metaverse and Metatron, very interesting. Okay, let's go and have a look at the numbers. So basic stuff to start off with. Metatron has got a regular gematria of 314. It's got an ordinal of 71. This number is the most prevalent number when it comes to a revelation of the concept of Mashiach, specifically Mashiach ben Yosef, which is the hidden dimension to the entire Torah. Together they come to 385. Okay, all very significant numbers. So first of all, 314, a verse that comes up, certainly a messianic verse that we need to be fully aware of, because this is talking about a time of redemption. For the land shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the water covers the seabed. That's from Isaiah 11:9, and very interesting verse taken from Isaiah there. That's got a regular gematria of 1268 and an ordinal of 314. So we can see this concept of Metatron is obviously involved with fulfilling this prophecy, where the land shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, of Yotei Vav, as water covers the seabed. There's all kinds of mysterious encoded messages in this. But basically this is when we all know Yotei Vav. He's revealed to us. We're in a face-to-face relationship with him. This is accomplished through Mashiach, the concept of Mashiach. Okay, so obviously we can understand that Metatron is involved with that revelation and that fulfillment of prophecy, and guiding humanity to that place of knowledge where we are face to face with the ultimate knowledge, the ultimate truth, the ultimate revelation, which is the name Yotei Vav. And some people are put off understanding that. You know, some people who maybe not come from who consider themselves more spiritual than religious, but ultimately Yotei Vav is a code. It's a code for a light. It's a formula for a light, and it's the original light, and it's part of our own soul. It's a revelation of our own soul, and ultimately that is what we are trying to attain. We're trying to correct ourselves so the light of our own soul shines forth, rather than that light to be concealed by something other. And that true reality of who we truly are, and our true status, and this unifying force that unites all humanity together as one. We're trying to connect to that. We're trying to reveal that light within us. We're trying to reveal that light in the world. Okay, and to make this the obvious revelation rather than the evil and this elite system of governments that we're subject to at the moment, where the sovereignty and the absolute authority of Yod-Heh-Vav is concealed. We need to get to a place where his authority and his sovereignty is revealed, and we need to have knowledge of the Lord. Da'ah, de'ah, eth, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, or Yod-Heh-Waw-Heh. Okay, so very interesting. We've got to understand there's powers involved and there's lights involved, and we call these angels. We call these forces with which the will of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh to reveal himself works. There's names for these forces which orchestrate the will of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh to reveal himself to humanity, and to raise up and correct humanity so that they're able to perceive true reality. You know, they can be free of all the limitations and all the defects in order to be able to access true reality and that elevated state back up to what we call Gan Eden. It's all coded messages. It's just for us to attain a level of awareness, consciousness of divine light that is called Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Okay. And we've got this then that's connected to this. There's always for everything holy, there's an unholy opposite. So this is the unholy opposite, and the truth will be absent. So 1582, which is the regular and ordinal of this, for the land shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the seabed. The unholy opposite is the truth will be absent. Okay. And the truth, which truth shall be absent? The truth regarding Mashiach ben Yosef, which is the hidden aspect to the concept of the Mashiach, the most hidden aspect to the concept of Mashiach, the most exiled, the most concealed by concealing factors such as the serpent and the Nachash. These are the forces that conceal the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Mashiach is the force that reveals the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Okay, so we need to connect to the force that reveals the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. And there's three primary aspects to the concept of the Mashiach. There's Moses, Moshe, the body of the bird. There's the left wing of the bird, which is Mashiach ben Yosef. Then there's the right wing of the bird, Mashiach ben David. Okay, so Mashiach ben Yosef is Yeshua. And you've got to unite the concept of Moshe, who is suffering in Erev Rav exile, with the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef, who's suffering in Edomite exile. And what do we mean by that? The Mashiach is supposed to reveal the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Okay, when the Mashiach is in exile, the concept of Mashiach is then concealed. The concept of Mashiach concealed is the serpent that bites. Okay, this is the hidden way. The rectification can either occur in a hidden way or a revealed way. So when Mashiach is revealed, the name of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is revealed. When Mashiach is concealed, the name of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh is concealed. Okay, so we've got to take that conceals and transform it into that reveals. Okay, so the truth is absent regarding Mashiach ben Yosef. This is the truth that this is the most hidden aspect of the concept of Mashiach. And it's the work that we have got to take that is hidden and all the forces that conceal the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. And I'm not talking about Mashiach ben, the Yeshua found within Catholicism and Christianity. There is some truth within that. I'm talking about there's also a great deal of hiddenness, because that is the Edomite exile into which Mashiach ben Yosef has descended. You've got to take that hides Mashiach ben Yosef and transform it into the truth. Okay, from the fantasy fiction that it generates in exile to the truth. Okay, the truth is missing, the truth is absent regarding the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef, but we can't unite with the concept of Moshe. The concept of Mashiach ben Yosef and the concept of Moshe cannot be united in lies and fantasy and fiction. It's got to be the truth, the united in truth. And the only way you can understand the truth regarding the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef is in the Torah, which is the mind of God, and a true interpretation of the Torah, which is like alpha-numerical, like what we're doing now. It's got to be both alpha and numerical. You've got to get the right numbers together, use them together in order to weave an understanding of what actually is the concept as revealed in the Torah. Torah is the name Yod He Vav, of complete total revelation of the name Yod He Vav, the tree of life, which is, even Metatron's called the tree of life. Metatron is just an analogy, if you like, for a revealer of the name Yod He Vav. It's all connected to the name Yod He Vav. Okay, and things like that. So the truth is absent. We've got lots of lies regarding the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. We need to deal with that. I talk about that a lot in my teachings. Right, very interesting verse. Oil for lighting, spices for the anointing oil, and for the incense. That's from Exodus 25:6. It's got a regular of 2,731 and ordinal of 409. Together they come to 3,140, which is 10 times Shaddai. Okay, Shaddai is that one of the names of God that's associated with Yesod. Metatron's also associated with Yesod. This is one of the Spheroth on the tree of life, the 10 Spheroth on the tree of life, and Yesod is really represented by Yosef, as in Mashiach ben Yosef. And we know that Shaddai, the whole concept of El Shaddai, is very much connected to a revelation of Mashiach ben Yosef, because we've got the book called Torah written by, well, it's the teachings of the Vilna Gaon in the book called Torah, and nearly every page mentions the word El Shaddai in reference to Mashiach ben Yosef. And the 999 footsteps, El Shaddai spelt out, comes to 999. And we've got to complete 999 footsteps of Mashiach ben Yosef below until the final revelation of Mashiach ben David is revealed from above. That's the 1000th step. We've got 999 footsteps of Mashiach ben Yosef that have got to be completed below. Okay, what does that mean? It means we've got to go from a place of concealment to a place of revelation, and that takes a lot of work. There's a lot of work involved in order to truly reveal the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef, and then unite it with the concept of Moshe, and that unity will bring about a revelation of the final 1000th footstep, which will be a revelation of Mashiach ben David, and that will come from above. So when all these people are telling you, I am, Mashiach, I am the Messiah, and the revelation will not come from below. So you don't need to listen to anybody who will tell you that, and who's banging on and on and on and on. I am the Messiah. There's plenty out there, because even I've come across them before now. The revelation simply will not come from below. It won't be a man telling you that he's Mashiach. The revelation of Mashiach ben David will come from above. So it will come from heaven, that means. It will be a divine revelation. We will do 999 footsteps below. That's a lot of hard work to toil and to wrestle with the revelation and to toil and wrestle with the concealment until it yields the revelation of the name Yod He Vav He. That's 999. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got to fully reveal the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef below and unite that with the concept of Moshe, and in a way that's only found within the Torah, according to a true interpretation. What does that mean? In accordance to an interpretation that reveals the name Yod He Vav He and does not conceal him, reveals unity and does not bring separation. And when we've accomplished this, then from above Mashiach ben David will be revealed. Okay, and ultimately it's a light. It's a specific light. And Mashiach ben David is a specific light. And in that light we see the light of the name Yod He Vav He. So it's revealing to us a specific light, and this specific light that will be revealed, it's all code names in a way for revelation of light or concealment of light, consciousness of the light or unconsciousness of it, a kind of death, a spiritual death. We're being brought to life. We're being resurrected from the dead. We're being rectified until we are back up at the level of the Gan Eden, where we can face Yod He Vav He, the light, face to face. Okay, so it's all coded names. So Mashiach ben David is a coded name in a way for a light. That light will incarnate in a man, but the man that comes as Mashiach ben David it's a coded way of us, or is a physical incarnation of something great that's occurred. That humanity has been brought to a place of divine consciousness of the light of the name Yod He Vav He, and the revelation of Mashiach ben David just confirms the place to which we have come. We've come to a place where for the land shall be full of the knowledge of God as the water cover the seabed. So all these things are coded messages in a way. You've got to understand what we're really truly dealing with, spiritual realities that manifest physically in earth. And we communicated in a way where we are able to understand these spiritual phenomena that incarnates, or that is made manifest. And it's basically a light that's made manifest, or a light that's made, that we are aware of a light, and the ultimate light is the name Yod He Vav He. So we've got to understand exactly what's involved. All these things are all coded messages for us to understand that we are going to be able to receive this light without it destroying us. Spices for the anointing comes to 1,170 plus 171. They together come to 1,341. Signs of the Moshiach, or Thoth HaMoshiach, comes to 807 plus 363. Together they come to 1,170. It's got an ordinal, they're just the regular. It's got an ordinal of 51 and 57, which is 108. Okay, so it's these numbers that we're looking at long. We can see that this verse is somehow related to Metatron. Okay, so the reason why I'm having a look at this is because Metatron is, like I say, it's a very highly Kabbalistic, complex, it's a complex, what would you call it, concept. Okay, I'm just going to read you so that you're aware of how complex that we're talking about. It's very difficult to discern, well, what exactly is it? And we are wanting to reach a place of knowledge, and we can see that our knowledge is somehow connected to the concept of Metatron. If we don't understand Metatron, how can we expect for the land shall be full of the knowledge of God, and the water cover the seabed, when this concept of Metatron and this filling of the land with the knowledge of your Yod He Vav He are very much connected? Yet you go try and find anything out about Metatron and you will struggle to understand anything that's written. I'll just give you an example. It says, this is written in Zohar Chadash. So the only things that you'll find written about Metatron are in the Zoharic teachings, which is a completely different language than what we used to speak in. It's called the language of the branches, which is completely coded messages anyway. You know, it's totally coded messages. So it says, this is what's written in Zohar Chadash Yitro 39d to 40a. I'm not only going to read a part of it. And behold, one wheel on the earth. That's from Ezekiel 1:15. This is Metatron, which is higher than the creatures by a distance of 500 years. Metatron, Metatron, Zvol, Eved, Zevuel. Here are 5 names, and his names multiply in 4 directions to the 4 corners of the world, according to the mission of his master. He ties knots for his creator, and has command of the mysteries of the 4,500 rivers of balsam, which spread out from the 13 other hidden rivers. There are placed before him 4,500 myriads of halls, which are concealed within the rivers, and he is given authority over them. Whenever he goes in or out, 1,500 firmaments tremble before him. There are 12,000 myriads on the left, 12,000 myriads in front of him, and 12,000 myriads behind him. All these camps flow out of a single shining flame that emerges from him, and in this flame are engraved the letters of the ineffable name. Sparks fly out of this flame, and when they look upon the light of the engraved letters, they all tremble and quake and move forward. The sparkling of the letters. From this flame flow other wheels, which move in other chariots below among these halls, and they are all interlaced, as it is said, as it were a wheel within a wheel, one contained within the other, and interpenetrating head in head, one within the other, but the faces are separated at the sides, and they all travel in the direction of the faces within the light upon which they look. And so it goes on. Okay, so I know my limits, and my limits are telling me that is too confusing. The only thing that I can make out of that it's really resonates strongly with my soul is the name. You know, is engraved with the name, which is obviously Yod He Vav He. So I've got to be reduced to what I know, which is an alphanumerical analysis, which is what we've got before us. And from that, I can gain some understanding of what this concept of Metatron is, and decode a lot of these messages that are written in the Zohar in very mysterious, mystical writing that is not easily understood. But we can break it down, we can make it simple, make it much simple, and this is why an alphanumerical analysis is so important, because we can take major concepts and we're only relating it back to what's written in the Torah. So we're only trying to relate these concepts to a revelation of the Torah, which is an ultimate revelation of the name Yod He Vav He, if we interpret it correctly. And it's got to be interpreted in an alphanumerical way. Right, may your hand be upon the man of your right hand. Okay, so there is a link between Metatron and Michael. And Michael is really the force and the power of the right hand. Okay, so we have got a link there. Michael is the power that we have within us once we have studied Torah to a degree where it fully reveals the truth of the concept Mashiach ben Yosef, and in that truth we see the light of the name Yod He Vav He. We are talking about a level of Torah interpretation that reveals the truth that is hidden regarding the concept Mashiach ben Yosef. Once we attain that level of truth, however, we have then got to do something about it. We have got to become advocates. We go to the next level, and the truth is connected to the number 100. 101 is Mikhail. So 101 is the next level. And I've talked about this a lot, and I've done teachings regarding the concept of Mikhail 101. how much more superior is it than 100? So the truth is very important. We've got to first establish the truth, but then we've got to do something about it, and that truth should motivate us to become advocates like Michael, an advocate for the nations, an advocate for Israel, and we should be totally and utterly reaching a place where there's no more need for harsh judgments in our mind, because we are aware of that there's only Yod Heh Vav Heh, and everything has happened for good. Okay, people who are doing evil down on this world are simply struggling with their workload. People are struggling with their workload, because every single human has been apportioned some evil that we have to transform. It's the work that we have been given to do. So evil has got a purpose that's ultimately and absolutely good. It's a concealment of the name Yod Heh Vav Heh, that we must, through our effort and determination to overcome these forces of evil and concealment, transform them into a revelation of the name Yod Heh Vav Heh, from darkness into light, from evil into good. Okay, so we've all got to control every single human, and once we understand the whole process and the mechanism and where we're going and the unity of all humanity together within the concept of Mashiach, within the name of Yod Heh Vav Heh, we can then attain the level of advocacy, which is Mikhail, advocating for our soul, which is Yisrael. Michael is the guardian angel of Israel, but then we also understand through this revelation of truth the purpose and the necessity of the nations that create a vessel of shalom with which we can receive the full revelation of the name Yod Heh Vav Heh down here on earth. We've got to have refined bodies too. This is represented by our of our evil inclination. We've got to transform that evil into good. So instead of looking and pointing the finger at every evil person that we see in this world, we then start to have to advocate. Okay, so we know hidden in this is some good. This person is obviously struggling to overcome this evil inclination, this evil impulse that's causing it to do that. What's the root cause of it? What will the end result be once that transformation has occurred? Are you praying for them rather than judging them? Judging is not going to judge and condemn to death. We've got to transform death itself into a revelation of the name Yod Heh Vav Heh. So continually judging our fellow man as evil and worthy of death is not the answer. Then the truth reveals that this is not the answer. The truth is we've to become like Yeshua, the ultimate advocate, who laid down his life for humanity. Okay, we've got to become advocates. We've got to be like Mikhail, with the power of the right hand. So that's very much linked. You can see it's a sign of Mashiach. You can also see it's connected to these spices for the anointing oil. That's Leshemen HaMishcha. So that's where we get the word Mashiach from. Anointing means anointed one. Okay, so it's got that comes to 990. It's a very significant number. We're going to have a look at that. It also comes to 180. 180 is one of the fillings out of Yeshua. It's 117 plus. Let me get this right, 127, plus 53. So one of the fillings out of Yeshua, where the Vav is filled with the Yud, this is the ordinal value, comes to 127. If we add the regular name of Yeshua, the ordinal value is 53. So 127 plus 53 is 180. So we know the right-hand man is connected to the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef as well, who's actually on the left. But Yeshua is connected to this number, 180, for the two reasons why I've said I'll probably include those two numbers, if I can just squeeze it on. And then 180 is also David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Chayam. No, Chai V'Chayam. David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Chayam. David, King of Israel, is alive and enduring. This is what we say when we're sanctifying the moon. every month the moon is sanctified, and that's one of the things that is spoken, because King David's obviously associated with the moon. Together they come to 1170. Again, this is a concept of the unity between the concepts of Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, and Moshe. So we've got this here, look, 1170 is 10 times 117, so that's Yeshua filled this way, where the Vav is just a Vav. So the 127 is when the Vav is filled with a Yud, so we'd add another 10 to that. That would get the 127 that I talked about. That adds up to 180, so the 127 plus the 53, which is the ordinal of Yeshua normally. And then we've got this Mashiach ben David, Mashiach ben Yosef, together come to 990. So we can see all the messianic links between that and all the way back up here. And we can see very clearly that this verse is a revelation of the concept of Shaddai, which in itself is connected to a revelation of Metatron, and in itself is a concept that helps us to fulfill this prophecy, which we so desire. Revelation of the knowledge of Yod He Vav He. So for the anointing oil, which is Leshemen Hamishcha, this was spices for the anointing oil, Somim, and that's actually in heaven. It's the same Shomayim, Shomayim. It could easily be, if it wasn't for the vowels, it could easily be Shomayim, in heaven, or in heavens. But Samim, it's Samim means spices. Besamim means spices. Besamim l'shemen hamishcha, that was that number. If we just take l'shemen hamishcha for the anointing oil, it comes to 778 plus 112, both are highly significant numbers, which comes to 890, which is 10 times 89, 10 times Yetzhara. Yetzhara, the ordinal of Yetzhara, is 89. So this is the whole thing I was talking about. We've got to take our evil inclination and transform that. This is the holy opposite. For the anointing oil is the holy opposite, this concept of the evil inclination. You know, so it's like I said, the anointing oil is connected to the concept of Mashiach, who is the anointed one. We have got to use the power of the anointed one to overcome the power of the Yetzirah. The concept of Mashiach is a revelation of the name Yod He Vav He, and it's got to overpower the concept of the evil inclination, which is part of the concealment of the name Yod He Vav He. Okay, this is our work to do. We've all been given a portion. We've all got an evil inclination. We've all got to transform it, and some of us are not doing as well as others, and I count myself included. You know, we've an evil inclination that is dominating. In a time of exile, the evil inclination does dominate. There will become a time where our good inclination, which is powered by the truth, which is absent, hence we are subject to these evil impulses that dominate over our good impulses, our good inclination, and we've got to reach that place where our good inclination totally and utterly dominates over our evil, selfish, destructive, egotistic inclination. Okay, and it's the truth that enables that domination to occur. We overpower the evil inclination with the truth. The truth about what? The truth that your old Yosef Chai, Yosef is still alive. Okay, so 778 is also Pakotte, I surely remembered. Pakotte is the code name that Moshe was given to speak to the Bnei Israel, to tell them that redemption had come. God had surely remembered them in this exile, and we are waiting for the final redemption where God will surely remember us. And it was spoken by Yosef. He said, I think it's Yifkod Pakod. I can't remember exactly how it was said, but Yosef said it in the future tense, and this is it written in the present tense. Yosef said, when God will surely remember you, take my bones out of here. So we know that the final redemption is connected to a revelation of Yosef. Okay, the bones are just a code name for the essence. The essence of somebody is represented by the bones. So when he said, take my bones from here, it's like reveal the essence of who I am. So Mashiach ben Yosef obviously died. Yeshua died. He was crucified, and he went into his soul. Then descended into Edomite exile. And we've got to reveal the essence of the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef, because through that the name Yod-Heh-Vav is revealed, and this is exactly the place where we're wanting to go. It's revealed and is known. And to know something means you're close to it and near it. We want to be near to the name Yod-Heh-Vav. We want to be near to this light and far away from its opposite, which is evil, a consciousness of evil. We're talking about consciousness of light and life. And this is death and destruction and darkness. We want to be not conscious of that. We just want to be conscious of the light and of the name and of the power and authority and sovereignty of that light. But we need to be remembered, because we're in a place of forgetfulness. We have forgotten our true inner self. We have forgotten this light. That is our true, that is our, even our own essence is the name Yod-Heh-Vav. Just as through the bones of Moses the name Yod-Heh-Vav is revealed, so too through our experience in this life, in exile, the name Yod-Heh-Vav is what should be revealed, but we have forgotten who we are. We have forgotten our mission. We have forgotten our purpose. We are just simply floundering in these evil forces, and very difficult to get free of them, their influence. But there will come a time where Yod-Heh-Vav himself will remember us. I have surely remembered you, and by him remembering us, we remember ourselves. We remember our true self. We remember that we are a part of that light. We are not this darkness that has us bound at this time. We are not this. This is not us. I'll tell you an experience that I once experienced. I was living in Manchester, had a really, really difficult time. It's actually part of the Jewish community, but it was, it's just a lifetime of subject to exilic forces, really, really took its toll on my mental health and everything. It was really dark time. But fortunately, I'd had many, many light-filled experiences. I'd been to Israel many, many times. I'd kept Shabbat every week, kept kosher and things like that, enjoyed the festivals, immersed myself in Torah study, learnt Hebrew, all kinds of things, did my daily prayers, taught the children Torah. So I had a life filled with light, but the darkness of my life was so great. Even with that light, it was very difficult to remember who I was on a daily basis. I was totally and utterly dragged down to the depths all the time, until I ended up suffering really what we would call as a nervous breakdown. The darkness simply got the better of me. It simply engulfed me and got the better of me. I had to go through a massive process of healing from all the trauma that I'd suffered. All this exposure to evil makes an impression within your actual bones, within your actual body. It literally reprograms you to respond to life a certain way, filled with fear and anxiety and doubt. And it's overcoming that with the truth of the name Yod-Heh-Vav. And I was struggling. I struggled a lot. And I really forgot a lot. I forgot my purpose. I forgot who I was. I remember this particular day on this bed, just sat on my bed, and these forces of evil were so powerful and so overwhelming. And I remember just, trying to fight against them. And one of the things that eventually turned around, there's something in my mind that says, turn in the face of the devil and he shall run. So you imagine you're just caught in the snare of Hasatan, the devil, the accuser. You can't get free. You can't get free from the accusations. You can't get free from the harsh judgments. You can't get free from the negativity and the darkness. You can't get free from the the effects that evil has had on you and the impression it's made within you, even though you're somehow attached to some truth and some light, that the dominating force is the evil that you've experienced. And I remember turning around and sort of saying to this evil, this darkness that was just looming in my life at the time, I am not you. I am not you. I am walking up Har Zion. I am going to see Kever David, the tomb of King David. I am walking through Zion's gate. I am stood in front of Hakotel. I am not you. And all these memories that were such powerful memories of me in my life. Many, many times I'd been to Israel 20 times. So I'd walked up Har Zion, in Mount Zion, loads of times. As I'm speaking, I'm every single footstep along the way is an impression and a memory for me, right from the bottom right up to the top. And going into Kever David, the tomb of David, many, many, many times, throwing myself against the gold embroidered velvet cloth that hangs over the kever, and the fragrance and the light and the, going towards the left, because that's how you get into the women's section, and then the men's section on the right. And all these things are very strong, powerful memories. And going through Zion's gate and the mezuzahs that are on the gate and the shape of the mezuzahs and the bullet marks that are around Zion's gate from the various wars. I think it was the 6-Day War. And going through and then walking down past the Armenian section of the old city and through, it's all very big impressions to me. Everything about it, I remember it. I've been there. And yet, even the dark forces that I faced were so dark that they even tried to gobble up this light that I'd experienced in my life, until I turned round and said, I am not you. I am there. That is my life. That is who I am. And it was like forcing myself to remember my true self, that I had been to these places, and that is who I truly was. This darkness that I was experiencing, this overwhelming engulfment of evil that I'd been subject to, all these traumatic the powerful traumas, and these evil people that I had to battle. These dark forces that were in various people that I was unfortunate enough to meet. But even that was a purpose. Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh desired me to overcome, to remember who I was. In the depth of despair, I had to remember who I was. And somehow this is what I'm trying to say. It's us remembering who we truly are. Remembering the light that we've been previously connected to, and attaining attachment to that light, and allowing that light to drag us all away and defeat these forces of darkness that would have us believe that's all we are. All you are is the evil that's happened to you in the life, in the evil that you've thought, the evil that you've said, and the evil that you've done. And that is not the truth. Okay? That is when the truth is absent, and it causes us all manner of problems. And I'm only telling you that because I've been there in the depths myself. I know what it feels like. It's a pretty grim place, and it takes some overwhelming. But the truth shall set you free of even these dark forces that can even reappear after you've experienced deliverance and redemption through the blood of Yeshua, and even going and connecting to all these holy things. And at that time I was going to the synagogue every single week. I was practicing and studying Torah very seriously. Anyway, so let's carry on. 778 is Shavuot, when King David the Messiah was born and died. So he died on Shavuot. He was born on Shavuot. Okay, I've got my own theories regarding that, by the way. Like, this is the Torah that's given at Shavuot, and sometimes the Torah can reveal, and sometimes the Torah can conceal the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. God forbid. So Shavuot can be a time where King David is revealed, where we, and what do I mean by that? King David is born. King David is born through the concept of revealing the truth regarding Mashiach ben Yosef and the unity that Mashiach ben Yosef and Moshe have. That's where we give birth to King David as the Messiah, the light that is King David Messiah, King David the Messiah, Mashiach ben David. So we can use our Torah, the Torah that we learn can either cause separation, which causes a concealment of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, or our Torah can give birth to Mashiach ben David, or it can kill him. It can be the death of him, because we are serving our egos and separation and evil rather than serving the truth. The truth regarding the hidden concept that is within the Torah, the truth that reveals the truth about Mashiach ben Yosef. But our ego can stop that revelation from occurring. And our ego can stop the unity between Mashiach ben Yosef and Moshe. And that ego will bring death to King David. It's all like coded messages. It's when, like what I say, what do you do if you truly interpret the Torah? You have the truth regarding the Torah. Od Yosef Chai, this is the truth that you ultimately have to reveal. But then what do you do about that? I've already spoken. You have to advocate for the nations and Israel. You've got to understand the importance of the unity between Israel and the nations, because that unity reveals the unified name of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. And the separation conceals it. Okay, so we can either give birth to the concept of King David, which is associated with the complete revelation of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. It's the ultimate revelation of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, and it's ultimate unity and the ultimate oneness that's revealed. It's all associated, it's all coded message for basically the same thing. An ultimate place where we have the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh and his absolute authority and oneness and perfection revealed to us, that there's only him and nothing else beside. Or we are living in a place where we are dead to that revelation. It's concealed from us. We are subject to the evil that prevents us from accessing that good. We are subject to our evil inclination instead of being empowered with the truth, so that our good inclination dominates. I talk about this a lot. But anyway, so I have surely remembered comes to 890. So to be at this place where we are giving birth to Mashiach ben David, as opposed to killing off the revelation that reveals the unity of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh and his oneness. Once we attain that place where we remember who we are, we remember what our purpose in life is, to transform the evil into good, to transform the chaos into shalom, transform the darkness into light. Once we're at that place where we're able to attain those, we reveal a unity. And this 112, it's the ordinal of until Shiloh comes, which is a prophecy given to Yehuda. Very important messianic prophecy. I can't go into it too much in detail, but Shiloh is basically the umbrella term for every single united concept of Mashiach. Gives us it's the name through which we're able to see clearly the Mashiach of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, and in that light we see the light of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. So the name Shiloh is a coded message to bring to help us understand that all aspects of the Mashiach need to be united as one, and all aspects of the Mashiach are basically the 5 aspects of the name Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh that need to be united as one. So the tip of the Yod, the body of the Yod, the Heh, the Vav and the Heh, these are the 5 salvations, if you like, the 5 concepts of Mashiach that must be united as one. Okay, and that name Shiloh is synonymous, if you like, with that united force of the Mashiach. 112 is Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh Elohim, the name, if you like, that symbolizes unity between heaven and earth. Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh represents heaven, Elohim represents the earth. Physicality and spirituality, body and soul, Yaakov and Esav, the good inclination, the evil inclination, the unity. Obviously, the good inclination can't unite with the evil inclination until the evil inclination has been transformed from darkness into light. But it's a power The evil inclination has got a power that can be utilised for good or evil, and we've got to make sure that we're utilising it for good. We're elevating the mundane aspects of life, and we're sanctifying them for the sake of the unity of the name Yod He Vav He. Okay. I shall not die but live and tell the deeds of God. So this is from Tehillim 118:17. It comes to 1314. So obviously it's 1000, which represents the concept of the Mashiach, the 999 footsteps of Mashiach ben Yosef, plus the final footstep of Mashiach ben David, the 1000th. So 1000th, that can be split to 1000 plus 314. So we know we've got a link to this concept of Metatron, which we need to understand Metatron, the concept and the power of Metatron, and we're really trying to understand how is Yod He Vav He going to accomplish that it desires to accomplish. So we've got to understand concepts such as Metatron, because this is part of the process, if you like, part of the system, part of the way in which Yod He Vav He's will is ultimately accomplished. So it's always to do with the Mashiach, and then we've got the concept of the Mashiach plus this concept of Metatron and Shaddai. Okay, united together in this one verse. I shall not die, but I shall live. And this is what we're ultimately wanting to do, isn't it? Death is symbolised by the evil inclination. Life is symbolised by the good inclination. I shall not die. I shall not be forced subject to the forces of death, but I shall live. I shall not be exiled, but I shall be redeemed, and tell of the deeds of Yah. Okay, which is one of the names of Yod He Vav He is Yah. It symbolises the mother and the father, Abba and Ima, that are always united. This is the aspect of the name Yod He Vav He that is continuously and always united. We have got to unite the other aspects, which is the Vav and the He together. We've got to understand perfect unity. Okay, we've got to understand perfect unity, and the concept of the Mashiach brings perfect unity to the Yod He and the Vav He. It's the complete unity of the name. Nothing else can bring unity like understanding the truth regarding the concept of Mashiach, the Mashiach of Yod He Vav He. It's got a regular of 234, and as we can see, that's related to that. So 2 times 117 is 234. So it's related to Yeshua. And then we've got this. Let me have a look now. Where did I get this from? Yeah, it comes from here, doesn't it? So 1314 divided by 2, it comes to 657. And 657 is Joshua ben Nun. So we know this concept here, I shall not die but live and tell of the deeds of God, is very much related to Joshua ben Nun. And it was Joshua ben Nun that went into the promised land, which was subject to the forces of the Canaanites, the 7 nations of the Canaanites. This had to be completely dominated over in order for the Bnei Israel to occupy that land, because it was theirs by promise. It was their inheritance. It didn't belong to the Canaanites. They were temporary dwellers until Bnei Israel were able to dominate over those forces, those Canaanite forces, which were very, very powerful. They would be able to dominate over and take possession of that was theirs. That was theirs. And it's like us, really. It's just like us. That's holy to us has been dominated and taken over by evil forces, just as I tried to explain. All that wonderful connection to holiness that I'd experienced, and then suddenly I was exiled from that and in this pit of despair, and somehow I had to fight those forces in order to get back into that place of promise, my inheritance that I had inherited through the blood of Yeshua, through the concept of Mashiach ben Yosef. It was ultimately a revelation of the name Yod He Vav He. This is all coded messages for what Yod He Vav He has ultimately done in our life, to arouse us up and to awaken us and to cause us to remember who we are, what we're supposed to be doing, and who he is, who Yod He Vav is, and we can be in a place of forgetfulness, which is where forgetfulness means we're dominated by the evil forces, and remembrance means we're dominated by the good forces, by the truth and the light. So obviously Joshua ben Nun is very critical in this battle, where we don't want to die, but I shall not die, but I shall live. It's very much connected to the concept of Joshua ben Nun, who, like I say, he is the leader, the one that goes in and leads Bnei Yisrael in this conquest of good over evil. It comes to 3 times 219, that's 657 is 3 times 219. And then we've got, okay, so we've got, I put that there, 234 is 2 times Yeshua filled, the 117, I've already made mention of that. And then finally look at this. So we know we wanted to attain the revelation of Mashiach ben David, which is the ultimate revelation, isn't it? It's the final revelation of the Mashiach, where we are fully redeemed. We've completed that transformation. We've completed that domination of our good inclination over our evil inclination. You know, we've got out of exile. Exile being, you know, when we're subject to external forces as opposed to the name Yod He Vav. Okay, so Mashiach ben David is 424. If we add to that the name David, 14, we get 438, which is 2 times 219. So we can see the link between Joshua ben Nun going in and doing battle, and then the ultimate revealing the truth about Mashiach ben David, and this truth about Mashiach ben David being linked to this. I have surely remembered you. It's redemption from the forces of evil, you know, so that we're able to enjoy and bask in the glory and the knowledge and the light of the name Yod He Vav. And then just to point out this, I think this is actually for later. Should have knocked that one off. Oh yes, so okay, 314. No, I shouldn't. 314. 2 times 157. 2 times 157 comes to 314. Okay. Did I point out that 71 was Nun? 71 is Yonah, the sign of the Mashiach ben Yosef. Okay, so very much connected. It's the 70 nations plus Yisrael, or Yisrael plus the 70 nations. And it's also the 70 members of the Sanhedrin plus Moses, who is the ultimate Mashiach of Yod He Vav. So we've got this 157 down here. If we add up the 5 aspects of the salvation, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David, Moshe, Yaakov and Sarach bat Asher, it comes to 2041, which is 13 times 157. 13 being the 13 attributes of mercy, by the way, or Echad, oneness, or Ha'ava, love. Okay, but it also means Nukva, and we talked about the Zohar and how mysterious the language was in there. The word that is used to describe Malkuth in the Zohar is usually Nukva, but it's spelt slightly different. In Aramaic, I think that would be an Aleph, but in the Hebrew, this is the Hebrew way of spelling Nukva, and it means female, the divine feminine, the holy Shekinah, the kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Heaven represents the masculine divine. You know, we want unity between the female and the male. The female is basically the whole concept of the Mashiach. Okay? And through that, we get the unity of the name Yod He and Vav He. The masculine and feminine aspects of the name Yod He Vav He come together as one. So it's all linked up to this concept of Metatron, and we'll see how this is another important word. This is another important number that we've got to go look at. That is also connected to the divine feminine, the Shekinah, the holy Shekinah, the holy Malkuth, the holy kingdom, and the concept of Mashiach, and specifically Mashiach ben David, who is the ultimate head of the Malkuth, the kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, just let me change this. Okay, so I won't change it. What I will say is we're going to have a look at the number. This will be in next lesson now, 385, which is obviously related to Moshe. and it's related to this incredible verse from Ecclesiastes 1:9. I did an analysis on this verse a long time ago, maybe 6 months ago, and I've used little bits of it, but never really drawn it in to a teaching on its own. I kept meaning to and intending to. Anyway, next lesson I will go over this particular slide that I put together months ago. And it's just absolutely wonderful, absolutely glorious, and we'll just further explore this concept of Metatron and find out just exactly what this concept is through the alphanumerical analysis of it, what we can glean regarding this concept of Metatron, and how that will ultimately bring us to that place, connecting to these forces and these powers for good, will ultimately connect us to that place where we, the knowledge of Yod Heh Vav Heh will fill the entire earth as the waters cover the sea. And with that, I will say, Shalom.